Is there a question from CBS? So I'm just going to be the facilitator and just make sure that everybody stays within their time frame. And afterwards, maybe we can have a little discussion about what's been said. So if we can start with Grace, maybe. Have you prepared something about the USPs and gains, pains?
Sorry, excuse me. What USPs are exactly?
Those the unique selling points. So we wanted to talk about whether you could maybe present a couple of points that like single your destination out and that make you unique, and what would make tourists want to visit, and why you want tourists to visit you.
Okay, we haven't prepared the presentation because you said us not to. But of course, I can tell you some things. Right now, we have collected all the main the data for the main sites of the area, natural resources that are important of the area, buildings or architectural resources or stuff like that. It's everything on the map. We have published to the INCULTUM's site. We have done research to most of the cultural associations and in general associations of the area with semi-structured or free structure with questionnaires of free structure. So it was really interviews to all the associations. So we have more data about what are their willing to contribute and how they see their place, and what is their opinion about how cultural tourism or how culture of the area could be exported to people outside the area. So we have a good overview of the area until now. We are in touch with many of these who want to help the project more. We have come in contact with many organizations that are for climbing or hiking organizations of the area. So we're going to help them with the GPS to make the data to register some tours. There are some routes that they are already open, but they are not, they are signed, but they are not on GPS. So we're going to do that for them, and we're going to open this data to people from outside the area. We have a lot of research in front of us, but until now we are, I think we are okay. We're going to start also the events in the area.
Davis, can I
Vaius,
also...
if you want to...
Yes, some things about our work. Can I share my screen? Okay, the share screen is disabled. Can you open?
Valentina, is there any way that you could make Vaius a co-host for a moment just so he can share his screen? Is that possible?
Let me try. Not sure. Wait, because I'm not the host. I am also a co-host. So
yeah.
Wait. Let me see. Now, what I can do to colleagues is to, you know, open or close their mic and video, or to remove them. So this is yeah. But what we can do is, given I can share my screen, maybe if you very quickly send me the presentation, I can share it.
No, it's not a presentation. I will present our databases, our tools, our survey tools, the results of our survey.
Okay, wait. No, I cannot grant you the co-host.
Valentina, if someone is who is the host, if we can get in touch with him, so we can.
Yes, I will. I will get in touch with her, the other Sarah. I mean Sarah Mitchell, and I will ask this. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, Sarah, I don't know if you want someone else to, if it takes time to
I was
say
thinking the
something.
same. Yeah.
And then Vayus
So maybe,
can,
yeah, great. Yeah, so maybe Albania can continue and then we can come back to you later on. Is Albania here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, okay. So as I understand, we have to mention a couple of points which we consider as unique selling proposition values for tourism in the area or not. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Some unique selling points and also maybe like why you would also want tourists to visit you.
Well, we won't present what we have done until now, but just what we consider special from the touristic point in the area. Okay, I will mention a couple, but we have to keep in mind that these are only preliminary and need to be further discussed, developed with all the actors involved in the project. And also we have to also keep in mind that these proposition values are to be sold to a fluid decision maker actor, as it is the tourist, whose perception and expectations are variable, so are always changing. So we would like, thinking for this, to whom these values are presented, we would like to think more inclusively and center the tourism in the area around the community-based tourism and agro-tourism approach. The intention is to persuade the tourists discover the off-beaten paths, attraction of the area, experience the whole new rural landscape consisting of traditional historical village, mountain adventures, local people, minorities. So by so saying, I have picked up these three unique selling propositions. And these are A, traditional historical villages containing all the historical, with all their special historical stone-made vernacular architecture, both domestic and religious, the unspoiled rural life, the organic products, the traditional cuisine, and the hospitality of the local people living within these traditional villages. B, in search of a lost historical ethnic minority group, this aims at promoting the lost values of the historical nomadic Vlach community. And 3, adventuring in the Vjosa Valley with all the outdoor activities the river and the landscape themselves offer. So these are the 3 unique selling propositions we have picked up for the moment. This unique selling proposition, we think, could attract both domestic and international tourists. And of course, various aspects of the proposed products need to be largely improved, which of course cannot be achieved within the lifespan of the INCULTUM project and need wider governmental actions, as for example are the building restoration or road infrastructure. However, there are aspects that could be worked out during the project, as for example, we think to prioritize a number of traditional villages that have more touristic potential compared to others, show them on the map, relate them with the other surrounding archaeological, historical, and natural monuments, or promote historical paths connecting constellations of villages. Also, a Vlach minority whose history and language are at the verge of being completely forgotten in the valley will be at the focus of our project activity, aiming at promoting the cultural historical aspects of this community and bring them at the attention of future local and central governmental policies on tourism. To answer to the other question about the gains, the foreseen obvious gains are mostly related to local communities. For example, some of the present guest house initiatives have made use of these historical stone-built architectures, stone-built houses, and are chiefly managed by locals. This action aids at saving these historical buildings from being totally destroyed, and at the same time keeps some of the inhabitants still attached to the rural way of life. Also, the current guest houses are mainly managed by women. Therefore, apart from enhancing rural development, this will eventually increase women's economy and independence. Also, on the other side, the promotion of the Vlach culture is a two-folded achievement. Their culture is tightly related to a semi-nomadic way of life, and consequently to the exploration of the mountain paths, formerly used by shepherds. Yet at present, local shepherds, along with their flocks, spend spring, summer times in the surrounding mountains. Therefore, we are thinking to record and relate past Vlach routes with present-day mountain folds. This will eventually attract tourists to visit these attractive mountain spots, where they may also be willing to spend time there in the company of the shepherds. To answer to the other question about do we anticipate any concrete negative effects in regard to these unique selling propositions I mentioned? Well, I think it's too early.
Sorry, I'm afraid you're out of time.
Okay.
But thank you so much for that. Yeah, can we move on to France now? And hopefully we can discuss this later on as well if you want to further elaborate. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if we should say something about the intra-border stuff between Greece and Albania. It's an important part of our...
If you'd like to go now, yeah.
Pilots. Yes, so we have common things. The area was one part of the former Ottoman Empire, so there were no borders between Greece and Albania before. The Vlachs are not minority. For us, it is a language, just a language minority. I mean, it's a language, Dioma or something like that, in the area that considers both of the areas, Greece and Albania. There are Vlachs also in Greece and Albania. There are Vlachs all over the Balkans, in the mountains mainly. So these are, and also the architecture of the villages and many common stuff in the cultural understanding of the area. It's the same also in Greece and Albania. We are going to try, and I hope next months we are going to meet also with Egla and colleagues in Albania. I think we can manage some GPS routes between Greece and Albania through the borders, and on the issue of Vlachs and transhumans and these things, and also on production maybe, and local production and food. So these are stuff also that we will work on. I don't know if it's the share screen is open, so
No,
I'm afraid Sarah also just sent a message saying that we only have 5 minutes left. I'm really sorry, everyone. I think it took a little bit too long at the beginning, maybe. I'm very sorry. Can we move on to France? Forgive me.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I try to be fast. So the territory where we develop our pilots is located between Paris and Lyon on the Bibrac-Montbray Grand Site de France, and it offers a mosaic of preserved landscapes. It's a world of forests, granitic rocks, meadows, living waters, ancestral paths, and archaeological remains. And it is a perfect place for wandering, resourcing, and a refuge for nature and heritage lovers. So the Grand Site label, the Grand Site de France label is protected by the French state. And it is the recognition of a management that applies the principles of sustainable development. So while Morvan Natural Park has been selected this year by Le Monde newspaper as the best place to visit in 2022, the Grand Site de France is extending its territory this year. And we plan to develop a slow tourism offer in consultation with our stakeholders. So this offer will be available all year round and will combine leisure and outdoor activities and heritage and cultural discovery. So we plan to articulate the offer around 3 main activities. So the first one, which is actually at the heart of our pilot, is will be an exploration of the Grand Site de France territory through the network of more than 1,000 kilometers rural path. The second activity is around the discovery of local natural and cultural heritage, including the flagship of Bibrac Museum, the ancient Gallic city under the forest, national natural sites, and the hidden rural heritage of the 12 villages of the Grand Site de France. And the third activity would be a program of activities co-organized with our partners, local associations, including collaborative heritage inventory, voluntary recovery activities, and events such as mindful walks and educational activities. So for this offer, we have defined 3 main target groups, new target groups to visit our territory. It would be nature and archaeology lovers, sport lovers, families looking for affordable country break, young citizens in research of low carbon and ecotourism, couples and individuals looking for resourcements and wellness tourism, and children and school groups who could participate to our educational activities. So our action plan for the coming month includes a feasibility study for the hiking trails program, which will help us to confirm the technical conditions and investments required to the maintenance, the marking, the equipment, and the promotion of the new hiking itineraries on the territory. We will as well implement participative inventories activities and co-construct a marketing plan with our stakeholders, including new slow tourism packages, publication of a sensitive map of the territory, and communication platform and PR campaign. And we plan as well to organize training and educators for professionals. So the positive impacts and gains that we have identified for the local community so far include, of course, a better notoriety of the territory, and we hope to attract more investment and inhabitants on the territory. Of course, these new market opportunities will have positive impact on the tourism economy. the development of new services like catering services, culture offer, mobility services, etc. Should have as well a positive impact on for local inhabitants. And we hope as well that through the Grand Site label, we could build sustainable development awareness on the common heritage of the territory. And this will contribute to guarantee its preservation. And this is an opportunity for locals to take part in sustainable development goals. So in order to measure those impacts, the impacts of the actions, sorry.
Forgive me, Flo. I'm so sorry, but the breakout room is only 1 more minute.
Okay.
And I wonder if maybe, no, it's not you. I'm wondering if maybe in the main room we can ask if we can take a little bit of time for Spain, if that's all right with you guys.
No problem.
Yeah. But if you have some last words to say now, Flo, before we get
that's
taken
fine.
out, or anyone.
I think that Vajos, if we are back in the main room, it is possible to allow you the right to share your screen. So I believe that we can take just a few minutes of the plenary for you to share, which is fair, I think. Also, yeah, our group was the largest of all, so I think it is understandable that the time was too strict for us.
A little too short.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, if we're not leaving the break,
we will be destroyed in a minute.
Sorry?
In a while. We will be destroyed in a while.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we have our homework already done, so the opportunity to tell something like plenary, so no problem at all.
Oh, we still have 1 minute now.
50 seconds. Just to say that our proposal is singular and unique for the as we are working with the traditional irrigation systems and the channels. So we have been working a lot on the values of how unique the proposition could be from an identitary point of view, from a cultural, historical point of view, and from an environmental and landscape point of view. So those values supply a very interesting assemblage of elements that might interest tourists, not only from abroad, but also local tourism, as it is a very unknown heritage. 2 seconds. Well,
Okay, we are back.
Mm-hmm. Are we all back?
Yeah. I think Sarah is also arrived. Yes, we would like to ask you if it is possible that we take just a few more minutes to allow one of the pilots to share their comments and also their screen, because we tried, but I could not allow Vajos to share his screen, and this took a bit of time, and for this reason we weren't able to hear from him. So
but
yeah.
But how do you want to do it, Valentina? To let them do it now?
I think it is fair. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it will need just a few minutes as soon as.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Can it happen in the plenary? Because
now. Yeah, I think now.
The breakout rooms have disappeared.
Yes. And Sarah Mitchell, could you please allow Vajos for the rights of sharing his screen? I cannot, unfortunately.
Yes, I will make him a co-host really quickly. Where is he? Okay, you should be able to see the screen share option now.
I think your mic is muted, Vaios. We don't hear you.
I'm sorry.
No
I
problem.
think you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, about some things why we believe our area have a unique characteristics that can support tourism. We try to identify these characteristics. The special characteristics of bridges. We have some historic bridges which believe is the symbol of our area, like Konica Bridge. It's here we have the description of the bridge, and in these bridges we have knowledge how to create these bridges. I think this is some special for our country. We also identify cultural treasures like museums and natural resources. But a main thing we have to solve, it's something like, just a moment. We identified that we have two special areas in the Greek project. We have Zagori and Konica. Zagori have more tourists, it's more famous than Konica. Here you can see the foreign tourists, the inside and outside tourists in every municipality. This is Konica and this is Zagori. We have, as we can see, there is a gap between these places. And if we go back to the map, we can identify here that the state area is something like here. We have a special mountain, which is Zagori mountain, where we identified unique characteristics. And this is basic things we are trying to put outside to learn, to help tourists to learn about our area, because we have a strong place near Konica, Zagori, which is famous, and we will try to take some famous to put it in Konica. And this is our work, and we are trying all these things to organize it with the data, and we have a database we share with you with the special characteristics of its point of interest in order to help us to identify the value of each one. This is more thing, but we can discuss more about this. Okay.
Well, I muted myself. Sorry, Valentina. Was that? So?
Yes, yes. I think that was fair to.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you everyone for preparing your short presentations and for giving it a thought to, to come up with one or two USPs and reflect also on the link to data so how can we be able to measure this so that we can actually, achieve it within the INCULTUM lifetime. And of course, the pilots are very different, but at least in our breakout room, I think there have been fruitful discussions going on in the teams. So I would just leave the floor open. Anyone, so to have this a little bit of a meta reflection here now on the usefulness of such an exercise. I think we, at least at CBS, both when we were doing the stakeholder mapping and as we are now preparing for the next deliverable, which is the impact evaluation and exploitation plan, we feel this need to both to be close to all of you in the pilot projects and to understand. And of course, the point is to choose a limited number of goals that we really give priority to, so that we can actually achieve them. That is difficult in some pilots. In other pilots, well, maybe both the USP and the KPI just come more easily. So, but we should help each other in this endeavor here to identify USPs and also the indicators, the data that we want to measure. So please, any reflections perhaps from the other group rooms or any of you, the pilots on the usefulness of this exercise? Please, I will leave the floor open. Anyone?
I say something. Yeah, I think one of the differences that I'm seeing in between the pilots, apart many geographical and even differences in the topics and the target groups and so on, but I think one of the main differences that I'm seeing is that there are some pilots with many many objectives or many elements that would like to be intervene or what they want to work on, and other pilots focused just in one element or maybe two single elements. I think that, well, that could be positive or negative depending on the focus, but might also complicate the data collection and the kind of data, the data measurement mainly specifically in the things that we are proposing.
I think you're absolutely right. So, and the point is perhaps also, I mean, just an additional reflection here. The point is, of course, not to say, for example, then for some of the pilots who have a well, short or long list, but a list of objectives that they actually would like to work on. And of course, you know, choosing one or two or maybe three USPs over the other doesn't mean, of course, that we abandon the other goals. But we do need to focus in what we do in INCULTUM. Take an example. Many pilots have listed as one of the objectives to fight depopulation, because of course that is a general problem in most countries in Europe, and as the pilot areas generally are not not close to urban centers. Most of the pilot areas is actually suffering this problem. That is, of course, something that we will have difficulty to do anything at least measurable about within the lifespan of INCULTUM. But it doesn't mean, of course, that we're not working on it, and it is an objective, general objective. But we do need to prioritize the goals that we are actually working on, and find ways to measure, find data that we can use to be able to afterwards say something about what we have actually achieved.
Carsten, can I tell you about this? Ah, sorry, I see a raised hand, and I just took the pitch like that. But I'm sorry, Vincent.
I was talking to you. Okay, please go on.
For example, for the population, we measured what people believe about how could the area attract newcomers. We measured that by interviewing all the cultural associations of the area, and taking the opinion of the presidents of the villages, and something like that. So we put them to tell us how they believe that they could, the state or the local state or even their organization could support this process of newcomers in their area. And that's some data we have about how we can fight with the population.
Interesting.
Yes, just in the same kind of comment as has just been said. I think the philosophy of this project is to base what you call USP to a vision of a shared heritage by the locals. What we have to rely on the development of the tourism of this offer is really what is considered as a common by the people. And it's the way we've been working around Bibract, and just to make an inquiry among the local village communities to what counts for them in terms of heritage in their environment, just to make sure they want to support the preservation of this heritage and to share it with other people. So yes, USP is a bit a dry concept for marketing. So we need to provide flesh and sense to it, please.
Well, if I may, of course, I agree with you. But it was the point for us to use it was basically also to provoke you a little bit, because I mean, since we are working, since it is about cultural tourism, so we really need, I mean, so it is about having visitors come, but we have two communities. We have both the visitors, but we also, of course, have the locals, and we need to connect them. So in that sense, of course, I agree with the USP is a dry concept, but the principal point here is to, I mean, it goes with the term. So unique is to prioritize, to give priority to one or a very limited number of things. Okay, so that was the idea. Antonella.
Well, I agree with the comments that we are sharing in this moment. However, I think that the idea of the USP revisited in terms of a shared USP, because as correctly Carsten said, the final aim of everything that we are discussing and for the population that lives in that territory is to increase the visitors in a way that is sustainable, respectful, pleasure for the local population. So in a way that is different from the mass tourism, but nevertheless to increase the number of visitors. So it is still a USP, a new kind of a USP, maybe a co-created USP. And in terms of the data, I think that something that probably needs to be considered is a way to collect the data about the people, the local, the people who live on the territory, because these data are more difficult probably to be found on the statistics. The appreciation of the local population towards visitors, towards increasing how much. So data that look at the local people living on the territory. And a way to rethink the USP. It is still a USP, but a new kind of a USP.
I really like that, the idea of a co-created USP. I think that fits very nicely with what INCULTUM should be about. Carol.
Yes, thank you. I have more of a practical comment here. So I have noticed that some pilot studies will be conducting surveys, others probably already started. I think it would be very good that the design of these surveys is coordinated or at least communicated across the consortium. I think that there are several advantages. Well, is the main in terms of evaluation. If we want to compare different actions across countries, across the pilot sites, it will be very important to have a consistent surveys that to some extent at least ask very similar questions. From the side or from the perspective of the pilot side, it is also probably easier to collaborate with others to take over certain best practices, certain templates. Of course, you could have still, you could have a kind of the same data or the same survey module across all pilots, and maybe ask some questions in addition to this that you are most interested in. So it still gives the possibility to ask and to find out things that maybe only are specific to your site. But my key point is to keep the communication channels active.
I think we have time for maybe one more comment, and then Carsten, if you can wrap things up just so we have time for a break. I think Manuela has her hand up.
Oh, I must leave in a few moments because I have another appointment here at the faculty. But anyway, I would like to take this opportunity to say that we in this local team have discussed a lot about how to do it using participatory methodologies. The unique selling proposition arises from one of these meetings within the members of the team. But we think that Antonella mentioned something very important, because I think that this must be co-created by residents, because they more than us alone know about these attributes that should be shared with our potential markets. Another point is that regarding the methodologies that should be used, of course, that we can choose different approaches since they are participatory, but I think that we should have like a common theoretical metrics, and we should use these common points to work in the field, because I can adopt different, or we can adopt different approaches, different perspectives, and at the end, to be sure that we can then compare, discuss what we get, especially the pilots that are aligned since the beginning, for example, Algarve, Granada, and Sicilia. We should use the same framework. So I would like to ask you some support to do this.
Thank you, Manuela. I think we're going to have to end here, if that's okay. That way we have time for a quick break, grab some coffee. We'll be back at 10:45, and we'll have a chance for more discussion at the end of the next session. We'll leave this on if people want to stay and chat, but we'll be back in at 10:45. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.